instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
You're good now?
All right, welcome to the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Botter. He's Scott McLeod. We're going to be with you for a little bit today. Flagstick Podcast this week is sponsored by Srixon Golf. At Srixon, performance is more than just a number, it's a feeling, one that starts at the forge. Introducing ZXi irons with iForge, a groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating that's taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. ZXi irons from Srixon, how forge should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more and the full lineup of Srixon products. Of course, we do encourage you to follow us across all of our social media channels and networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Please subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. We really encourage you to, more now than ever, to follow us on our YouTube channel, subscribe, like us, and click the notification bell to never miss a single episode of what we're laying down over there. In fact, the Golf Instruction, Flagstick Academy Golf Instruction Series at Castleview Golf Club will be kicking off very, very shortly. Yes. We will be shooting content this week, so get ready for that. All right, well.
How are you, Jeffrey?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm glad the humidity and the heat has kind of dropped a little bit. I know it's going to come back up, but you know, let's take a little reprieve from the extreme heat and enjoy a little cooler temperatures. Get some yard work done before it kicks in again, and maybe get a few rounds of golf in before it gets too bad. Which, by the way.
Oh, no. You're going to tell me you actually played golf.
I golfed. Not only did I golf, I played 18 holes. 18 holes. And not only did I play 18 holes, I played 18 holes walking.
And this wasn't mini putt, right?
This is not real mini putt.
All right.
And this was not across the street.
Cool.
At Metcalf. This was just random thoughts last weekend at the Flagstick shootout. Decided to give a call to Neil O'Reilly, is the owner of Homestead at Wolf Ridge.
Oh, you made the trip.
And and Brandon and I got up early on Saturday morning and drove to Killaloe, which for those that don't know where Killaloe is, it is past Renfrew, past Eganville.
Highway 60 on the way to basically Algonquin Park.
Yeah, almost to Barry's Bay, but not quite.
Yeah.
And it's right off of Highway 60 there. And we played a round of golf at Homestead.
Cool.
And
been a while since I was there.
It has been a very long time since we played there. And I had to refresh my brain every. You're trying to think, I've played there before. I should know every hole, but you don't. There's certain ones that were always sort of memorable that there's a hole that's like this, and there's a hole that's like this, and there's a hole that's like this. But then there's all the ones that go, I don't remember this. I don't remember this. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
So, and Brandon didn't want to know.
Okay.
Anything. He didn't even Google it. And you know how Brandon is with golf courses and the Google Earth machine.
Sure. He's all over it.
Yeah. But he said he wanted to fly it blind.
I like it.
So he didn't know what to expect. Didn't have any expectations of the golf course. And he thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely liked the front nine a lot more than the back. The back is great. Don't get me wrong. But the front nine is a little shorter and has a little bit
more elevation in there.
Yeah, the hole designs are a little bit different. And just the front nine is really, really good, and the back nine's good too. But the front nine is really kind of pops into your head.
Highly underrated. I had the opportunity
so underrated
years ago to do a photo shoot out there, so I spent a lot of time traipsing around that golf course, so the holes are definitely familiar to me for sure. And one of those ones I think a lot of people kind of don't know about, and maybe they just think it's like a little country course, but this is a properly designed golf course. Really cool though. It's a lot of sand base out there as well, which
very much.
So that contributes to the design, the drainage, and all that aspect of it or
Good
whatever. So
workout. The walk.
I bet you it was. So
It
yeah,
was
that's
funny
cool.
because just a small little story about when we got there. So we get there, and the GM clubhouse manager GM Rose was at the counter. She was expecting us, and we were coming in hot because it's about a 2 hour drive up there, but it
But
is Highway 60. So
right.
you are at the mercy of whatever is in front of you
Yeah,
and
cars,
whatever's
animals, or
coming
otherwise.
towards you. So we happened to, on a stretch between Renfrew and Cobden, we
Mhm.
got behind a combine.
Mm.
And the train of cars was about 100 deep,
Oh,
and
nice. So it's
nobody
not
could get around the combine.
right.
So we
Yeah.
basically hung behind the combine until we got to Cobden.
Yeah.
And then we took the hard turn left in Cobden to go in towards on the 8 and then up to 60. But it
gotta
was
love
like
gotta love country golf problems.
we
Getting
knew we
behind a
were coming
combine.
in. We knew we had 2 hours. We knew we were going to be getting there about 10 after 10. Tea time was at 10:30. Not big. I'm not big for warm ups, so it wasn't that big a deal. And then we're watching as the GPS. We're just watching the time go from 10:10 arrival, 10:15, ten
Mm,
twenty, 10:30, and then I'm on the phone. Yeah, we're coming in hot. So we do get there right like at 10:28.
yeah.
Boom to the T. So Rose says to me, she said there, she's got a cart key. She's like,
Okay.
hey, she says, okay, here's your cart, here's your key, you can go. And I go, oh, we're gonna walk. She looks at me and she says, you've played here before, right? And I said, yeah. And she said, the hills are still there. I'm like,
That's a good comment, actually.
I'm like that's just ideal right there. The hills are still there. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Uh,
And she like puts the cart key back
that's
down
good
and goes,
though.
well, have a good time, guys.
That's funny.
Oh
Was
my
it busy
gosh.
out there? I mean, I don't know
It
how busy
was
it is on a
so the
Saturday.
tee sheet was jammed right up until about 11:30,
Right.
and then it loosened up a little bit after 11:30. I mean, it's normal on a weekend for a golf course. You get into the heat of the
Yeah, of
day,
course.
it starts to loosen up a
Slow
little
down a
bit,
little
but
bit. Yeah.
it was still lots of tee times,
Cool.
right
And
through
it
the
is a
rest of the
beautiful
day.
drive out there as well. A lot of
Oh, it's a
people,
gorgeous drive.
yeah, if they haven't had the pleasure of driving through the Upper Ottawa Valley, it is, something else in the summertime for sure.
So I do highly recommend the trip up to play the golf course.
Yeah.
Just we're not talking about Hunt Club or Camelot or Eagle
No, no, no.
Creek type conditions here. This is
Yeah.
still layout wise it falls in line,
Hmm.
but your conditioning is going to be a little bit different.
Sure.
You know, but you're going to enjoy the golf course. I feel like you're going to enjoy the golf course. Now, if you go up
Yeah.
there and you play and you don't like it and you want to rip me apart, that's fine. But I'm not saying that this is going to be your top 10 in Canada. I'm
No,
just
no, no.
saying that
It's a quality
if you're
golf
used to
course.
playing the same golf courses around the Ottawa area all the time, like you're going and
Yep.
you're playing here and you're playing there, it's like you want to change, you want something
Yep.
different. Some of the courses up in the Ottawa in the Upper Valley,
Yep.
like that, like Dragonfly, like Whitetail,
Hmm.
like
Cobden.
Sandpoint and
Right. Yep.
Renfrew and like
Yep.
Cobden. Yeah, Cobden's another one. I mean, it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's worth it to take a few minutes, go play a different golf course
Hmm.
that is a little ways away. Yeah, it's a day,
Hmm. Hmm.
but
Yeah, we've actually got I mean, I've got a group down here in Kingston that a few years ago I recommended, they were looking for a trip, something to do, and they rent a cottage out on Golden Lake.
yeah.
And so now it's their annual trip. They have this group that go up there and they play a bunch of golf courses in the Upper Ottawa Valley,
Hmm.
and they've been thankful to go do that. They said it's a great way to do it. Costs a little bit lower than what they would pay if they go some high end place, but they get like centrally located, get to play cards, get to enjoy themselves, go out and play golf. And it's a little bit different. It's not resort golf or whatever,
Yeah.
but they enjoy themselves and they've been going back annually. So and and thankfully they always mention to the golf courses where they heard the recommendation from. So
Anyway, so there you go. So again, thank you, Neil O'Reilly, and thank you, Rose, for looking after us there. Really appreciated it. Enjoyed ourselves. And here we are recommending it to people to go
Yep.
play.
Cool.
Okay, let's get to our show this week. Obviously, we're going to chat a little bit about the Open Championship at Royal
Hmm.
Portrush. Um, and we're going to take a look ahead to the Canadian Men's Amateur, which is coming up, and you're going to make a pop in, I think, this week up at the Commissionaires Ottawa Open
Yep.
at
I'll
Eagle
be
Creek too. So we'll talk about all of that.
Yep.
So let's get to our front nine presented by Metcalfe Golf Club. A natural setting, a pleasant challenge. It is golf season. The course is in great shape. Book and pay online. You're going to save up 10%. Popular game passes are always an option at Metcalfe, 10, 20s, and 30s. Plus, check out the event series for some fun tournaments. Lessons are always available with their head pro, Nick Search. And food at Hickory's is always a great option before, after, or not even during golf. So check out Hickory's restaurant. Visit metcalfegolf.com for all of that. Okay.
You had a busy weekend.
I did. Yeah, yesterday was insane. Let me tell you about yesterday.
I want to hear about it.
Let me tell you about yesterday. So, uh, I'm a little older now. I'm 50, almost 55 now, and as you can attest to this, being an older guy yourself. Um, what do you do? Hey,
I
what do
was
you
going
do?
to say something, but I won't. So
No,
anyway.
don't do it. So I'm forgetful.
Mm,
And it completely slipped my mind as the week was, with everything that was going on last week with the tournament and getting things organized this week. It completely slipped my mind that Sunday, yesterday,
yes.
was the junior intersectionals, the flagstick.com junior intersectionals at Camelot, as a matter of fact. And I
Let's just say this,
sit there
people.
going,
It's a busy golf season, so our
yeah.
brains don't always function perfectly.
So I just like, because big Jim's like, okay, I'm going to be out there at 11 and they tee off at 1. And I'm like,
What?
when? Sunday.
Oh, you're
You're talking about this Sunday, Jeff.
today.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He said, can you come have breakfast with me at 11? And I'm like, yeah. No problem. I'll be there at 11. Don't worry
It
about
was
it.
on my calendar. It was on my
So I
calendar,
drive
right?
out to Camelot, have breakfast with Big Jim at 11. Good conversation as always, Big Jim.
Sure.
And then I'm like, okay. So I go out and I watch all the kids tee off off the first tee. I give them all a towel,
Hmm.
flagstick.com junior sectionals towel that we gave to all of the this year. We actually gave these towels to all the participants of the junior sectionals across all of the divisions this year, not just the A. So they all got these cool towels, and I watched them all tee off, and then I packed my stuff up and jumped in the car, drove back across town to where I live because I had to be on the ice at 4 o'clock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I had 2 hours on the ice with some U9 to
Uh,
U15 kids,
yeah,
and so my day was like I was just okay up out at
split
10, out the
shift.
house at 9:30, breakfast with Jim, kids teeing off. I would have loved to have stuck around and
Sure.
watched them all play, but I had to go do this other thing, so off the other side of town to do that, and then you know
This is the nature of our business in the summertime. People have to realize. So
You got to
try.
jam everything in between it too. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, there's just the way it is. But that's
yeah.
fitting things into your life. We all do it. But
Hmm.
anyways, so
Yeah,
I was out at Camelot for the A division of the intersectionals,
yeah,
which Camelot won.
yeah. I
Uh,
think that's three in a row for
yeah,
them, I believe.
yeah.
So,
I got which is really cool.
yep.
That they won host club just seemed to be doing that. Just
Yeah, just
course advantage.
still waiting for one section to come in, but it's been pretty consistent as far as all that. One of the funny things though with this that's different than the men's and the women's intersectional, the men's and women's intersectionals, and this will tell you about sort of channels and how things work these days. So with the men's and the women's intersectionals, I get emails
Hmm.
for results, I get posts from Facebook, right? And then for the juniors, they all come in by basically Instagram. You know what I mean? I hear from the
You're
kids,
from the kids. They take a
yeah,
picture of
yeah,
the
yeah.
score sheets and
Exactly.
yeah,
Or you see them just mentioning it or whatever, or sharing it. And thanks to all the kids that shared it, and a bunch of new follows as well on Instagram as well. But yeah, it's always funny, just a different demographic
yeah.
for it. But
So here's the thing. So
yeah,
so I really enjoyed this watching all the the camaraderie amongst the kids, and it's no different than any
yeah.
other. This is why the intersectionals is the best thing that we got.
Hmm.
The men, the ladies, the same thing. Have the kids are all gathered around the tee, cheering each other on, high five, and watching each other play. They get out there, and then afterwards, they're all huddled together, and they're intermixed with one another. It's not just teams because these
No,
juniors see each other a lot throughout the summer, especially the ones that play more competitive golf. But here's the only disappointing part about the
I
junior
know exactly where
intersectionals.
you're gonna. I know exactly where you're gonna go with it.
There's only five groups.
Yeah,
And then there's the Stableford one, which they created for some of the other
yeah,
teams that don't have as many players. But I gotta think that at all the golf courses across the region, that there are at least,
yeah.
8 to 10 juniors at each club. So why doesn't every club have a junior sectional team participating in the match play component of this? Now there could be a reason for that, but it
Sure.
really disappoints me because this is the big deal. This is the thing that these kids should be striving
Hmm.
to want to participate on these teams, even
Hmm.
if you don't have enough to have a tryout for the team, and you just, I'm sure that some of these teams just, okay, we need 12 juniors to do this. This is the makeup of it. Now I know their makeup is with the juniors is they have to have one
Hmm.
ladies girls
Hmm.
group,
Yep.
and then they have to have at least two U15 groups,
Yeah.
and then after that it's all U19. So if you don't have enough U19s, then you're gonna have to have U15s playing
Sure.
against U19s, which is fine. It's all
Yeah.
straight up match play. There's no indexes involved in this, which is the way the
Hmm.
intersectionals are.
Yep.
Um, and I think it's just, I don't know, something doesn't feel right
Hmm.
that we have
Yeah.
100 some odd golf courses in that are part of this OVGA group, and
Hmm.
we only have five groups
Yeah.
of regular intersectionals, which is only 20 teams.
Yeah,
Like,
and to be truthful, if we look at the breakdowns for the divisions, not even some of the teams didn't were no shows, so they weren't even all there. So there were some sites where they were scheduled to be at a certain place, and then they end up someplace else because the other team didn't come together. So
am I
I don't
missing
know.
something? Like,
I
I
don't
got to
know.
be missing something.
I started to think about it. I mean, I get it. There's always going to be some players that are away. Two, I don't know. I don't know if this is a sign that there's not enough junior golfers. Is this a
That's what
sign that?
worries me more than anything.
And here's the thing. I think for some of them maybe they don't want to compete, but this shouldn't be about competing. This should be about participation.
Hmm.
And I think I've heard it over the years. I've heard a couple clubs go, well, our best players are away, so we don't want to send the other ones. No, send the other ones. This is
Give
their
them the
chance.
experience.
Exactly.
It
This is their
can't
chance
be
to represent the club. It can't just
exactly.
all be about top players.
Yeah,
It has to be about participation more than anything.
you can't be, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe it has to
Possibly.
do with the club itself. And if we're wrong,
Yeah, I want to
if
hear
there's
about it.
clubs listening to this and we're wrong about this, and it's not a case of, oh, well, we can't send our best junior golfers, and we don't want to embarrass the club by dropping down a division because we don't have our best
Hmm.
people. Okay, well, that's a crock of crap for one thing. And if you're doing that, shame on you
Well, you're
for
missing the
doing
point,
that. But
really.
you're missing the whole point of
Yeah.
what the intersectionals are about,
Yeah.
junior or otherwise, but
Yeah.
especially juniors. And it goes to show one more thing that goes to
Mhm.
show what some golf courses think about about junior golfers.
Yeah.
And it bothers me because we already
Mhm.
see this. We already see this at some clubs where the juniors are kind of being pushed aside, or they don't
Right.
have as many junior members because they don't pay enough and all that kind of stuff. And I get the dollars, and we've talked about this. I get the
Sure.
dollars and
Yes.
cents of everything. I am a business person. I totally
Sure. We get that.
understand. But
Yep.
if you're only looking at the dollars and cents of junior golf, then you are missing the
Mhm.
business model for your golf club, which is the long term,
Yeah.
the longevity of the industry. We
Yep.
need the junior golfers. End of
Hmm.
story. We need the junior golfers for continued growth of this sport and this industry. So if you
Yep.
keep pushing them aside,
Hmm.
because they don't fit with the business model, then you're
Hmm.
going to be hurting the long term,
The other, yeah,
growth of the business.
the other side of it too is like, are do you have a culture that encourages junior golf, that wants junior golfers? So again, not about the just the business side of it or the money side of it or whatever. I mean, what is the culture at your club? Is there, and I see lots of clubs that do it. They have great junior programs, they have, junior camps, they have junior lesson stuff, and they have so forth. And again, this has to be about inclusiveness, not competition.
Hmm.
And while they are competing, as you mentioned, the whole point of things like the intersectionals is that camaraderie, and it is that ability to get to know each other and to meet other people from other clubs. And I think people get lost in the competitive aspect of it, and they
Hmm.
they worry about the competitive aspect, and oh, we're beating these people, and these, that's fine to be competitive. I'm not saying you don't have to be competitive, but really it's about that inter-club competition. It's about that sharing, that social nature of golf.
100%.
And if you put the focus on that, then you'll get the whole picture as well. And especially when it comes to juniors, we want these juniors to play. And what I find is, especially on the girl side of it, we don't have enough girls that are playing. And one
No.
of the reasons why they're not playing is that they don't have other girls to play with. And the fact is that when they find a group of other girls to play with, and they could be at a different club, they are encouraged and they want to stay in the game. But if they feel like they're isolated and they're just the only ones playing, eventually they quit. So yeah, it's really important not to lose that aspect. So yeah, I would say that was the exact same thing that struck me as well, is the fact that there weren't as many clubs participating with teams as there certainly could be. And as you said, I think the Stableford competition, it was meant to be inclusive, and it's a great way to do it. But I think more clubs have to make maybe a little bit more effort here to not focus on the four other intersectionals, to maybe focus a little bit on the juniors, and find some incentive to put together a team and get some players out there.
Now I'll have to find out for sure, and I will. But I think part of the problem with some golf courses, is they look at the team makeup, and they either aren't able to form a team that fits the
Right.
criteria. So I think the OVJ might need to take a look at the
Mm,
criteria for the juniors, in that having the mandatory girls group,
hmm.
and it used to be, at least, and I'll find out for sure, but it used to be if you didn't have a girl to fill that spot, then you
Yep.
gave up the points.
Gotcha.
And
Yep. Okay.
I don't think that that should be the case, because
Mm,
in the case of the juniors, like what I just watched at Camelot, the two anchor players for Hunt Club and Rideau View were
hmm.
both girls,
Yep.
and they played from the more forward tees, and
Yep.
they played straight up with the
Yep.
boys that were 19 years old. And in some cases, I think I saw, it might have been Amelia McFarlane,
Hmm.
took 6 points.
Sure.
So
Yeah. Team Ontario player. Yep.
yeah. So what I'm saying is that if you don't have a girls group, so what?
Hmm. Yeah.
Have the boys play the girls. Well, it's
Yeah.
golf.
Yeah.
You're
Just
giving the
adjust it.
distance advantage.
Yeah.
Then there you go. That's all you need.
Yep.
Other than
I
that,
agree.
it's just golf. So don't worry about if the
Hmm.
girls. There has to be a girls group. Make
Yep.
that a rule, that if you
Yep.
have a girl
Just make
to
the
put in that
accommodation.
slot, that it has to be a girl. But if you don't have a girl to put in that slot, it could be another
Yeah.
boy
Sure.
in that slot, in that 15-year-old slot or whatever, and you just go. And maybe that helps when you don't have such all this criteria laid out, where you give up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're going to give up, 4 points or six
Hmm.
points or whatever the case may be. Then we're just giving points away. That's no fun for our team to know that they're already 6 points in the hole before we even tee off. So,
Sure.
all right, we'll leave it at that. But check out flagstick.com for all the results of the flagstick.com OVJ Junior Intersectionals, and we move on. The next one, I think, is the senior men's
Hmm.
coming up,
Yes.
but that's not until
No.
later. And then the
Yeah.
senior women's is later as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. They're both almost September, I think. So.
all right, let's talk about the Royal Portrush. Let's talk about the
Yes,
Open
sir.
Championship at Royal Portrush. Now, I watched a lot of it. Now, Sunday,
Yep.
unfortunately, I was busy,
Occupied.
very busy, but I did
Yep.
watch as much of it as I could possibly watch, either on my phone or,
Yep.
whatever.
And once we
Um,
got to a certain point, it was pretty much written out script anyway. So
so let me ask you this.
yeah,
It's the Open Championship. It is my favorite major,
yep, same.
but it is the one major that the competition, the scoring for the competition is very, very dependent on weather, not
Sure.
just the course itself.
Yep.
So, does it disappoint you when you? I mean, when we went to Scotland, I think we talked about this, and I told you that I would be very disappointed if I
Yeah, we
played
mentioned
every
it.
day and it was 22 degrees
Yeah.
out and sunny with no wind. I would feel
Yeah.
like I'm being robbed of an experience.
Right.
When you look at the Open Championship, and you look at years past of Open Championships, and even 2019 when it was at Royal Portrush,
Yep.
and the weather conditions were significantly different than they were this year.
Very
This was
much so.
4 rounds of golf of almost perfect weather.
Yeah.
Does that tarnish? Tarnish isn't the right word. Does that
Sure.
take away
Mm.
from the Open Championship a little bit, or do we even care? It's still the Open Championship. Scheffler's still a dominant force, and that's just the way it
Yeah.
is.
I
Or are we
mean,
upset?
I mean, I don't know if it would change the winner outcome based on certain ability, but I think one of the things that the weather provides over there is some extra volatility,
Hmm.
and obviously the Sunday especially, there are some periods of rain and wind and stuff on the other days, but it wasn't crazy. But Sunday was definitely a very American day, let's call
Yeah.
that. And I think the leaderboard told that tale when you look at the number of players that were under par on Sunday
Hmm.
versus 2019. So did that take away from it? Yeah, I mean, look, I like to see Royal Portrush in the sunshine. It's beautiful and everything, but except for Scottie's one double bogey, there was a very limited amount of volatility. And I mean, this is a golf course that, you need that wind, you need that rain just for that extra little bit of mayhem. And we didn't have mayhem. And really, I mean, if you look at a player like Harris English, who ended up second, I mean, he wasn't really he was part of the picture, but he wasn't really part of the picture.
Hmm.
Even Chris Goddard wasn't really part of the picture. The picture was basically Scheffler with a Rory mix because of local, fans and enthusiasm. So yeah, I think it is the Open Championship. You get what you get. I mean, it's no different than Faldo on when he was at St. Andrews ripping it apart because the weather was perfect. And other days, I would have liked to seen a little bit of mayhem. If there had been a little bit more mayhem, I probably would have been glued to the TV a little bit more.
Yeah,
How's that?
I'm agreeing with you on that. I mean, I'm either give me the wind or give me the rain. I don't feel like the rain would have been enough.
Mm.
I
It's the
think these
wind. I
guys are
think
good
it's a
enough
wind.
to play in the rain. The golf courses, these links golf link style. God, linked. I've been around North America way too long. When you talk about anything
Apparently,
that links, it's a link style because it clearly isn't a links. But these links golf courses are protected by the wind. That's
correct.
that's what
Yeah.
protects them from being
Mm.
too easy is not the right phrase, but I'm going to use that. Like
No.
just too playable, too North American. And I
Yeah.
feel like Scheffler's game is very North American.
Hmm.
He just won the Open Championship, so that kind of calls me a liar a little bit. But he won the Open Championship on a golf course under golf course conditions that were very North American.
Correct.
So we saw when he plays it when he at the U.S. Open that him, like a lot of others,
Hmm.
faltered when the conditions got really, really hard. And if you
Yeah.
had those same kinds of conditions at Royal Portrush,
Hmm.
would this have been tighter? Scheffler might have
Yes.
still won, but he might not have.
Right. Yeah. And again, it's
So
it's that it's that randomness, right? It's that
yeah,
it's that it's that wind blowing from
and
one
it didn't
side that makes the
exist
ball roll
really.
down into a bunker one place or into the rough. I mean, we saw a few things here and there. I mean, you're going to see that at Portrush just because of certain narrowness. where, Justin Rose was obviously, visiting the crowd after a few shanks, and we saw some shots out of Gorse, and we saw some stuff, but we certainly didn't see the randomness. And as you said,
No.
and we're talking about, would it have changed if Scheffler, Scheffler is the kind of player who can deal with those conditions, but it might have been more interesting if that was the case, instead of just basically being able to, okay, I'll just hit my tee shot out there. It's not really getting affected by much. I'll hit my approach to there. And, it's nice to see birdies fall, but, it's also nice to see, a lot of competition as well. And not to take away from Scheffler, because obviously, what he's doing is something else.
Yeah.
But it's certainly, I think for him, he's going to be satisfied with it. But
sure, of course.
But he might not. He might think, man, I'd like a stiffer test than this to really, kind of test my skills. Because some players as well want that for that creativity aspect, whereas maybe some of the other players were probably going, man, this is a perfect day for me because it's like I'm hanging out in Wichita hitting balls or whatever. So,
well, 17 under for a winning score for a major championship. I'm not saying it has to be +2. No. It would be nice if it was. But single
I
digits. Get it. But 17 under, that's just to me. 17 under is just another tour event. From a scoring perspective. Yeah, but it is still the Open Championship. Anyway, what I could take anything away from Scottie Scheffler is at another level, and it's kind of starting to remind you a little bit of the Tiger era where guys were talking about playing for second place. Sometimes it just feels like you're out there grinding it out for second place because he's so far ahead and untouchable and unflappable. And that was the case this weekend. He was just, the leaders were what the leaders were. And that's why I thought the weather on Thursday was a little bit more challenging. And the scores to me reflected that. Yeah. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday got more calm and easier, and then that's when Scheffler really took over with the 64. And
the fact is, when he made mistakes, he made up for them. He made his big par putts and so forth, and other players obviously didn't. And that again, those are things where if there's actually some extra factors, and so there's a little bit more randomness, you just don't know what's going to happen. And the randomness obviously can be fueled by the player, because we obviously saw that with a few players. But like I said, when you start to look at the scores and you look down the leaderboard, and you see that that top 10 being -3, -5, -4, -6, -2, -1, -4, -3, -2, -7, -5, kind of in that's the whole top group. That's a lot of under par golf, and I get it, they're the best players in the world, but this is a very difficult golf course. And the thing is that
apparently not
in those conditions. So, I'll tell you this, I watched most of the week, but I will also tell you that by the time we got to the, through the front nine on Sunday, it wasn't as compelling. And I had this message with someone else. I was having a little chat with him, and, obviously there was a whole bunch of comparisons going on with Tiger Woods and so forth or whatever. Question for you. If you were watching, if it was Tiger Woods that was that far ahead, would you be watching it more than if it was Scheffler?
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's,
I don't know why either. Maybe it's just
the style of it, I guess, more than anything. And again, winning is winning, but maybe there's just a different, I don't know what the dynamic is.
Well, okay, so I know we don't. We're up against it for break here too, but we can keep talking about this after the break. But in actual fact, Scott, why don't we do that? Why don't we just take a break right now, and then when we come back, we'll just finish talking about this, because I do want to talk about a little bit more about Scottie Scheffler and this situation, and then we'll move on to our Canadian Amateur and so on.
Sounds good.
Okay. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation, and we'll start a new one about some other stuff too. So stay with us. You are listening or watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Bonner and Scott McLeod.
How do you forge pure? With more pressure, more precision, more focus, more control. ZXI irons. Pure forged, pure Srixon.
All right, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast. I'm Jeff Botter, Scott McLeod, as always, right here with me. Okay, so let's get to our back nine.
Sure.
Before we get into our conversation, let's get to our back nine presented by Falcon Ridge Golf Club. With 27 holes of fun and challenging golf at great rates, Falcon Ridge is a golfing experience you should not miss. And don't forget, Falcon Ridge has built the first TrackMan range facility in Eastern Ontario. TrackMan range is all about exciting, easy to use features that provide an ultimate range experience for every golfer at every level. Practice, games, and virtual golf. To book tee times or to book one of the 10 TrackMan bays, visit falconridge.ca. Okay, so before we get into some of the back nine topics, as we said, we were going to just kind of continue this conversation. So you asked the question about if the same situation on this past weekend, Tiger Woods was in that same situation, would I be more engaged in watching? And I said the answer was yes. Now I want to just explain part of why I say that.
Sure.
Scottie Scheffler recently was interviewed and had a lot of things to say about just, his motivation, his, where he stood on things with respect to him, whether he felt like he was an ambassador for the game, was to encourage young, and he basically, I know what, and here's the thing, I understand what Scottie Scheffler is saying, and Scottie Scheffler is this is me, it's golf, whatever. I make a living at it. I'm good at it. I'm winning tournaments, but at the end of the day, it's not my life. I don't need it. I have everything and that's all great. And I know what he's trying to do, but it comes across when you're asking me that question, and then when you ask Tiger Woods the same question, Tiger Woods' motivation is, I need to win. I need to win every week. It's all about winning. I'm out here to win golf tournaments. I'm not out here to make friends. I'm not out here to, this is what I prepared my whole life, was to be a professional golfer, to chase down Jack Nicklaus's records and to win, 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 win. And that attitude for me is the attitude that somebody who is at the top of their game and is not satisfied to be there should have. Scottie Scheffler is a different guy. He's a different cat. He's very, look at me. He's kind of like he's kind of like the better version of Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson comes across as like, I'm a cowboy. Like just, you know what I mean? Like, Scottie Scheffler has that calm, cool demeanor. Life is good. I got my wife. I got my kids. I got my, I've made some money. It's great that I get to come out here every week and make a living doing all this, but it isn't my life. I don't really feel like I'm here to encourage kids to play, or I'm encouraging, that's not what I'm here for. And I get that. That's not what you're there for. You're doing that as a product of being who you are. Kids look up to you and say, I want to be like Scottie Scheffler. And you see that, you still have lots of kids that who's your favorite player? Scottie Scheffler. But you still, even though he isn't even playing golf, have more kids that say, who's your favorite player? And it's Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's like,
less and less nowadays, for sure. And Scottie clarified that as well, yesterday in his conference, speaking afterwards, he just said, there was some stuff that was, he said he wished everybody would listen to the whole conversation, not just the little bits.
Absolutely. And I did listen to listened to more than the snippets.
No, and I think the better comments came about that from Jordan Spieth, who's a good friend of his, and spoke about it, and just basically said, Scottie's just a different animal. He doesn't chase all the other things that he said a lot of the other ones do with the corporate stuff and whatever. He doesn't make it his whole personality. And here's the thing. You get to choose your story, right?
No, absolutely.
And he definitely chooses his story, no matter what other people want from him or otherwise, or hope for him. he gets to choose what he wants to do. So it's not like he doesn't care. That's not really the point. And I think some people misconstrued the conversation as he doesn't care. Well, he does care. I mean, this is what he said. He wore pants as a junior when it was 100 degrees in Texas because he wanted to be a professional golfer, and that's what professional golfers did.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the case. He just said it's just not something that he does to satisfy the deepest desires in his life, and that's what he mentioned a couple of times or whatever. It's not everything for him. It's not all consuming, and you got to understand that in the end, you get a start date and you get an end date, and what you choose to do with your life, if somebody wants to make it all consuming, Tiger, hey, that's your choice. But did it help Tiger in the end, or did it hinder him? That's not for us to say for sure, but there's obviously downsides for that as well. But there's something I don't know, kind of nice about being the athlete that could drop into Walmart and pick up stuff off the rack, and half the people in the world don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody would know who Tiger Woods is, and that's what Spieth talked about as well. Is that Scotty's not transforming or transcending golf to non-golfers, whereas Tiger was an athlete that transcended so that you knew about him. So it's like in other sports. There's other sports where you don't follow the sport, but you know who the athlete is because they're always in the press. They're always in the media.
Everybody knew who Wayne Gretzky was.
Right, exactly. And you can put that Roger Federer, you can pick athletes across different other sports and activities, but it's a case of he still wants to have something that's his and his own to have, and he totally deserves that. So
it's interesting because I just in my brain I just said that, and it just made me think of something.
Sure,
everybody knows who Wayne Gretzky is.
Mm-hmm.
Across, you don't even have to be a hockey fan.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure.
I would say that most people would know who Wayne Gretzky is. Most people would know who Tiger Woods is. Most people would know who Michael Jordan is.
Sure. Yeah.
Regardless of whether they're interested in the sports. But I'll bet you, and I'll bet you I'm not wrong, I'll bet you that there are a lot of people that don't know who Connor McDavid is.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And is that the era that we're in now, where people are not, these athletes are not, putting themselves in that spot, so therefore they just are who they are within their sport. Because LeBron James, everybody knows who LeBron James is, but LeBron James has put himself there.
Correct, exactly.
He's made himself relevant across, even Caitlin Clark, who's a WNBA player. I mean, she's probably more well known than in some circles than someone like Scottie Scheffler.
No, I'd agree, and I think
put herself there.
Yeah, I think part of that though is a case of chasing it, and I think it's a change in attitudes as well, because the athletes are so exposed and so overexposed, and maybe they were underexposed and they wanted more attention to get what they wanted, revenue wise or whatever the case, fame, clout, whatever it may be. But I think in a lot of cases that exposure is already done by social media as it is. It's already done in the media landscape as it is. So players, it's like, okay, if you don't want to chase that, then they can choose not to. And I think you're going to see more of them that realize it's like, okay, I'm making the money I need to make. I don't need to do the extra things. I can still live my life, and I can balance my life a little bit better. And I think that's just the choice that Scottie has done. And I think a lot of people respect that.
But I think that's why when you ask that, I guess
correct,
all
exactly.
of that to explain why I would say more people will tune in to watch Tiger Woods.
Correct.
Because Tiger is would have been more relevant than Scottie Scheffler.
Right. Yeah.
To a mass audience.
Correct.
And so that's kind of where this was going. Is Scheffler still
I agree.
is an outstanding talent, but he's not a spotlight player the way Tiger Woods was for so long. So there's what I'm trying to explain by why.
And what he does is spectacular in a different way. Whereas I think Tiger was more dramatic, more flair, more trying different shots that maybe Scottie wouldn't do. And he's also showing golfers that you can play golf in a spectacular but conservative fashion and score well. And I think that's sort of the modern era to it. And I think that's the difference in watching it too.
I think that too is that you just hit something there. The difference between the Phil Mickelson era, the Tiger Woods era of is the flair for the dramatic, the spectacular. shots that Tiger, I'm not so sure that on the 18th at Glen Abbey in the
Mhm.
Canadian Open,
Oh no,
from that
Scotty would
bunker,
not
that
be.
Scottie
No,
Scheffler is trying to
no,
hit that shot.
no.
Whereas Tiger Woods would. Phil Mickelson, we saw it at the Masters, trying
And
to hit a
Rory,
draw out of the pine straw around the
right.
trees. And
And
like,
Rory would. And
yeah,
that's probably why there was a lot of extra attention even on Rory
yeah.
this week, beyond the fact of the Ireland angle or whatever. But part of the reason why, he's magnetic is that, he's hitting the big spectacular drives. He's hitting the unreal shots.
Yeah.
Whereas, you got to remember, I mean, Scottie Scheffler is still doing things that are unreal that, most humans are never, ever, ever going to
But they
achieve.
don't come across that way because
Correct.
they seem so mundane. It's just like,
Correct.
here's another one down the middle, and
Exactly. Yeah.
it's just when you pull off a spectacular bunker shot, or Scotty's not pulling off a spectacular bunker shot because he's not in the dang bunker to begin with.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
he didn't try to fly it from 350. He laid up
Right.
with an iron. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's that he doesn't do this, so he doesn't
No.
have to do that.
Right.
But then I guess that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's not dramatic golf. It's efficient.
It's vanilla, not chocolate chip.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Okay. We move on from that. Let's just talk.
yeah,
So the U.S. Junior girls.
this is what consumed my Saturday.
Yeah. So you were focused on the U.S. Junior girls, and I was playing Homestead at Wolf Ridge.
Yeah.
So it was hosted by the the Atlanta Athletic Club,
Slightly different locations.
and finished up on Saturday. But a Canadian.
Yeah, Aphrodite Deng, who maybe a lot of people are not as familiar with, and there's a couple reasons for that. She's part of the national team program, and she was born in Calgary, lived in Montreal, but she moved to New Jersey and Florida. Obviously, we cover amateur golf in a deeper way than most people do, so pretty familiar with Aphrodite. Super quiet kid, just a killer on the golf course. Has been playing so well in the last couple of years. I mean, in fact, I think this is their sixth win in her last 25 starts. People got to know her a little bit earlier this year at the Mizuho Championship, the one that's run in conjunction with the LPGA. She won that Mizuho Open also in New Jersey, in the state where she lives now. That's the other side of it. She lives in New Jersey now and Florida, so obviously doesn't get as much attention here. Did this week for sure.
Yeah.
Became the first Canadian to win the U.S. Junior Girls Championship. Now, this was so unfamiliar for some people that actually I was talking to a couple members of Team Canada as far as coaching staff or whatever. They thought that Brooke Henderson had been in the finals and lost in the finals. Well, she had lost in the finals of the U.S. the U.S. Women's Amateur, but not the junior. So Aphrodite in 77 tries, this is the first Canadian to be in the final, let alone win this championship. And this is a rare feat. I mean, I think people just don't realize how rare this is. She becomes the 9th Canadian to win a USGA championship. And I mean, the wilder,
and we know how deep USGA championships go as far as how old they are. So
exactly. I mean, this is going right back to Charles Blair McDonald, who was born in Niagara Falls, winning the first Canadian or first US amateur in 1895. So we're talking, 130 years. There's only been 9 Canadians that have been a USGA champion. So, these are the best of the best players in the world. She had to take on a 16-year-old from Singapore, 36-hole final match. I mean, it's a long match. Thankfully, they televised the back half of this, which is great to see. And just to see her win this, I mean, she was already top ranked. She's already in the top 50 in the Wagger rankings, which is for amateur golfers, let alone the fact that she's a junior. And then this is a perfect event for her. She's just so straight. She's so calm. If you watch her play, very little emotion. She just kind of does her thing, and she's a very slight girl, but just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And she got 4 up by the half and this match through 18, and then she gave a little bit back towards the end. She Chen got a couple back, and it came down to the end, but she ended up winning 2 and 1, had to sink a nice little par putt at the end to close it out. And you're going to hear a lot more from her, because this earns her a lot of things, being the fact it is one of the most prestigious junior championships in the entire world.
There you go.
Yeah.
See?
So just to let you know, so she is now exempt for the US junior girls until she's 19. Just think about that. She's 15 right now. So she's
Yeah.
got at least 3 more to go. She gets a spot in the 2026 US Women's Open at Riviera next year. She also gets in the next 2 US Women's Amateurs, and she will be playing in the 2026 Augusta National Women's Amateur. So big
Massive.
things for her. Yeah, definitely massive.
That's unreal.
Yeah, great for the program as well, because obviously it highlights, the Team Canada program, and she's on the next gen team. She's not even on the national team. She's on the
Yeah.
next gen team. So talked a little bit with back and forth some messages with Jeff McDonald from that program, and obviously they're very excited. Jennifer Haw from that program was down there with her this week as well. There were 5 Canadians that kind of made it to match play, and it's going to continue this week. The U.S. Junior Boys is Nick this week, and we have 13 Canadians in the field there down in Dallas. So we'll see if maybe we can double up. Who knows?
Double up. Like
Yeah.
it. Like it. Okay. So let's talk about something that's coming up locally for Eastern Ontario, I guess Quebec.
Yep.
Is
National capital.
the National Capital Region. The Canadian Men's Amateur Championship will hit the National Capital Region just over a week from now. Practice rounds are starting this Friday, and this is all going to be happening at Royal Ottawa Golf Club. And with one round, they play one round at Royal Ottawa, one round at two rounds, one round at Royal Ottawa, one round at Rivermead. And then if they are so lucky enough to make the cut, then they finish off playing Royal Ottawa for the next 2. Exciting to see something like this back in the National Capital Region. Even more exciting to see this type of it. This is the 120th Canadian Men's Amateur Championship, presented, of course, by BDO. And it's at Royal Ottawa and Rivermead. Royal Ottawa specifically is the host. Rivermead, the secondary course there. But both courses, lots of history. Royal Ottawa, tons of history. So awesome to see a prestigious event like this back at a course like Royal Ottawa.
Yeah, and it's a record as far as hosting. This is the 10th time they have hosted the Canadian Men's Amateur Championship. You have to remember this event started at the Ottawa Golf Club. So before it was the Royal Ottawa Golf Club, back in 1895. It's the 3rd oldest amateur championship in the world. I mean, it's huge for the club. I mean, they're very excited about it. I spent some time at the club last month. Got to chat with some of the team there, see how the golf course is getting prepared and getting ready. Everybody from the general manager Greg Richardson to the superintendent, everybody is excited to have the world back here, because you have to remember this year it's a big field. They obviously are able to, with 2 golf courses, they're able to have a massive field, over 250 players, and as a result of it, they also exempt in, you have the option to play if you're in the top 500 in the world as far as Swagger. But I believe we have the reigning Australian Amateur Championship or champion, the reigning Japanese champion in the field, tons from the US. This is a big event, and the cool part is that not only does it showcase 2 great golf courses, ones that have had a lot of renovations in recent years, which will kind of make it even better for the players. It basically will have a lot of local contingent as well, which also adds to it. But the courses themselves, I think the players are going to be really excited. As I said, the practice rounds start on Friday. Official practice rounds go for a couple of days. They go right through to Sunday, and then play will start on Monday. So I'm going to get there, I think, on Saturday, just to go head out to Royal Ottawa. There's a few players that we have an interest in that I'm going to, accompany there, that you get to see, including our recent flagstick.com shootout champion, Shane Stanley, who's in the field.
Shaner.
And
in the field.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna love these golf courses. They're really going to test them, and they will really separate great play from average play for sure.
Yeah, big time. No, it's exciting. It's exciting to have something like that in the region, and especially at a club like Royal Ottawa. I think it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to follow for sure.
I think it'll attract locals as well can go and watch this, which is great. I think you're going to see a lot of people from obviously those host clubs are going to be there. A lot of people just from Ottawa in general are going to go to support kind of the locals, and that's one of the things that they allow as well. Not only do players from those clubs qualify through various championships in Quebec and Ontario, there are club qualifiers as well, and there are some exemptions for the host clubs. So that allows them to kind of supplement the content so that they can see their players there. And as we know, we've had some great talent from this region, and as a result of it, we're going to see some of our finest players, and who knows, maybe they'll get in the mix. And this is different than it used to be match play. They went back to stroke play years ago, so it's going to be 4 rounds of stroke play eventually. And but it's been since 2016 was the last time it was at Royal Ottawa as the main host. Eagle Creek was the secondary host that year. Hugo Bernard ended up winning that year. I can remember being there at that one. And then but again, it's a great spectacle, and it's also a little bit of a lead up as well. They're also, Royal Ottawa is going to host the World Junior Girls Championship next year. So 2 big events in a row for this club, and again, we shouldn't dismiss the fact of the Rivermead's participation here, although they are the secondary host. All the players are going to get to see that golf course, get to see the redesign work that Jeff Mingay did there over the last recent years.
And that's a 100-plus-year-old golf course too. I mean, we got to remember that Rivermead's not like, it's not like it's a 35 or 50-year-old golf course. That's a 100-plus-year-old golf course. So we're talking 2 very historic golf courses on the other side of the Ottawa River. And that
have been
both
the host
have their
courses.
own.
Yeah, they've been the host courses for not only Canadian Men's Amateur, they've been the host courses for the Canadian Open before as well. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
What's cool is the champion, the champion gets exemptions into the U.S. Amateur Championship, gets exemption into this year's U.S. Amateur Championship.
Correct. Yes.
And into next year's final qualifying for the U.S. Open and into the RBC Canadian Open. Unfortunately, always a pet peeve of mine. I still feel like the Canadian Amateur Champions should get an exemption into the Masters, but I have no pull at Augusta National, so I'm sorry. And Golf Canada, I'm pretty sure that my invitation to participate in the Canadian Amateur Championship this year was lost in the mail. I mean, I know my ranking, my ranking's not within the 500 range, due to my lack of competitive play. But I mean, I'm still here. The tournament's still a little ways away. If my mail bounced back or something, and you got an open spot, give me a shout. I can handle Royal Ottawa.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not playing off some 7,600-yard beast here. I can handle it. I can bunt it around and make a couple putts.
They're both going to be converted to par 70 for the championship.
Okay, I'm out.
No, it's okay.
I'm out. You just turned those nice reachable par 5s for me into par 4s.
Yeah, there's a 502 par 5 that's being made into a par 4.
So it's a 3-shotter.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I was just looking at my notes here, and I sort of missed something. Eastern Ontario-based players have won the title. Now, Tom Hartley from Kingston, or Tom Harley, sorry, won the first championship in 1895. I'll get to another one in a second here. Ashton McCullough won it in 2023. We should note that the player who has won the most, which is George S. Lyon, who's an 8-time winner, he was actually born in Richmond, Ontario, in the west end of Ottawa. I didn't have to include that. And here's the cool one. Greg Olson. So I got a note last week from our buddy Dave Schreiber.
Okay. Shribes.
Longtime media guy. Hadn't heard from him in years.
The voice.
And Shribes reached out and to tell me that he is going to go and he is going to attend with Greg Olson, who won this championship in 1980 down in Halifax, beating out Dick Zokol, was a member at Royal Ottawa, and he is up from the States vacationing in the area.
Nice.
He's going to take the time. Him Tribes are going to go to Royal Ottawa. He's like, I hope they got a parking spot for me or whatever. So
they should.
I'm sure
what? They
will.
should have a spot for him.
So that's a really cool thing.
That is
Greg
cool.
Olson, 45 years later. Wow. Greg has gone on to great success in the high tech industry. We did a profile on him if you want to find that on flagstick.com. But yeah, he's going to be back to be there, which is I think kind of neat. And you got to remember, there's been some great champions for this event. Mackenzie Hughes actually won it at Camelot years ago. But obviously some of the best amateurs in the world in history for Canada. Doug Roxborough, Mo Norman, Nick Westlock, Gary Cowan. These are all winners of this championship, and it sort of sets the tone for a lot of their careers. Nick Taylor won it as well in 2007. So
the other thing to note here is that the tournament within the tournament,
yes.
which is kind of something cool about the Canadian amateurs. Is the Wellington Cup.
Yep.
Is something that they play for. Now the Wellington Cup is a Canadian
interprovincial championship.
The international players that are participating have nothing to do with the Wellington Cup. It's a provincial thing. So there's a team that's formulated from Quebec, Ontario, BC, all across the country, and they have a combined score team competition that the winning team wins the Wellington Cup, which is always been, for a long time has been part of the Canadian Amateur Championship. So cool little tournament within the tournament for a provincial team competition. Something else exciting to watch, as the Canadian Amateur Championship unfolds in a couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't we add in just a few other local players as well? Obviously, we mentioned Shane Stanley, a few other ones from Royal Ottawa, Michael Vavone, James Newton, who former Ontario junior champion, Isaiah Ibbett, who actually will be playing this week on an exemption at the Ottawa Open, who plays at Kent State. He's going to be in the field. Maxime Marangere, Chase Jerome, Laurier Perot, Romy Delari, and then some others from Eastern Ontario, Hayden Underhill, Taylor Collins, Daniel Abraha, Jamal Moussaoui. Jamal, which is good to see, and then Ellis Kinnaird as well. So lots of local content in the field. I apologize if I missed a few other ones. It's pretty hard when you're digging through a field of 250 plus players. But yeah, lots of local content to get out and watch as well.
Cool. Okay, so before we get out for this week, there's one other event that's happening, and it's taking place this week.
Yep.
The Monday qualifier, I think, is underway. Today at the Marshes. So there's a number of players, not just local players, but anybody
around the world,
trying to get into this week's Commissioners Ottawa Open.
Yep.
Now this is an event that this year is being played, is going to be played at Eagle Creek, and then next year and the following 2 years after that, I believe it will be played at the Marshes, which is where the Monday qualifier is today. And then practice rounds begin Tuesday out at Eagle Creek, and Scott's going to be up there following a couple locals that are going to be doing practice rounds. I'm not here to help promote the event. The event organizers, it's their responsibility to promote their event and get people to come out there. So that's up to them. But I will say this: if you don't get out, you don't get a chance to go see a PGA Tour event, at the highest level, or you don't even get out to see a Corn Ferry Tour event because they don't come around here.
Right.
This is a division of the PGA Tour. These are players that are aspiring to become PGA Tour players. This is like going to an AHL game, instead of an NHL game. These players are like steps away from playing on the PGA Tour. This is the way that they prove. This is their proving ground. This is their minor leagues.
The U.S. Open champion was on this tour 9 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, think of them all. Like Mackenzie Hughes was on this tour. Nick Taylor, I think, played on this tour.
Of course, yeah.
These guys they all cut their teeth
Upper
here.
Canada. Nick Taylor was playing at Upper Canada.
These guys all cut their teeth on this tour. It doesn't matter what it was called, whether it was the Canadian Tour, the Mackenzie Tour, the whatever tour. It doesn't matter. It's the same tour. Yeah. So if you want to see you're here. They're right out at Eagle Creek. They're 45 minutes away. If you want to watch some really good golfers, local golfers that are aspiring to get onto the PGA Tour, and Canadian golfers or Americans or international players that are aspiring to get there, this is good golf. This is not like
This is
going
great
and
golf.
watching a bunch of guys top the ball around because they want to be pro. This is outstanding golf.
Yeah.
Go and watch some outstanding golf. Take a day, go and watch. Go watch some practice rounds. Go out on Thursday. Go out on Friday afternoon and watch some golf. Like, I don't know what you sit at home and watch, the Barracuda.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not dissing these guys in the Barracuda,
No,
but that is what this is.
Sure.
The Barracuda, this are PGA Tour players. They've got there.
Just with a bigger paycheck, really.
Yeah, like this is, and I shouldn't say this is not, the Barracuda is not this, but what I'm saying is you don't know those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you sit at home and watch the Barracuda Championship. You don't have any idea who any of those guys are. You can go out to Eagle Creek and watch it live, which is, I will tell you, is far more impressive.
Yeah.
To watch it live and to hear the sounds and to just to be a part of that. Go and watch some golf, and that's all the promoting I'm doing. That's all the promoting I'm doing for the event.
13 Canadians in the field so far confirmed. Depends what happens, obviously, for the Monday qualifier. As I said, you can watch some locals or regional players, be it Isaiah Abbott or Noah Steele, another Flagstick Open former champion, 2-time. In the field, and then who knows who else will be in there. And I think a lot of kids will appreciate Mac Boucher as well, who a lot of people know from Instagram and hitting his wild shots. He's not feeling 100% right now, but he is in the field, and he flew into Ottawa yesterday.
I hope he brings a better caddy than the one he has on TV with the car.
Should I ask him that?
No,
he's going to be playing the practice round
because he's not listening to that guy anyway. I didn't hear he didn't listen to his caddy in that commercial once. So.
But hey,
anyway.
You know what? BMW paid, so that's okay.
Well, BMW. Okay, so we just said BMW 3 times. Where's my car?
Doesn't work that way.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. That's enough for us for this week. Thank you to our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and our presenting sponsor this week, Srixon Golf. At Srixon, performance is more than just a number. It's a feeling. One that starts with the Forge, introducing ZXI irons with iForge, a groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating that's taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. The ZXI irons from Srixon, how Forge should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more information, a full lineup of Srixon products. Well, we do hope that you have been watching, enjoying hearing and watching us on the podcast. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok. And subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Do not forget our YouTube channel. Like us and click the notification bell to make sure that you never miss a single episode of this or anything that's coming up. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Get over to theflagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every single day. And be sure to subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter. Free to your inbox 3 times a week. Great content. You don't have to search for it. We're just going to give it to you right in your inbox. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I'm Jeff Botter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.